It's coming up to the new year. It probably means that you have some New Year's resolutions. But given that 80% of people have given up by February and even more have dropped off by the end of the year, in today's video we're talking about how you can make change, how to make it stick, and how to not be in the 80%. Hello, my name is Toby, I'm a chronic overthinker, and I've been through the pitfalls of self-help so you don't have to. Change comes with an identity shift. If you want to embody being a new person for 2025, then you also need to actually embody that. You need to imagine what that person would be, who would have those desirable traits and qualities, and how would you be that person? It sounds really simple, but for example, let's say you're trying to quit smoking and somebody offers you a cigarette. Your automatic reaction might be to say, no, sorry, I'm trying to quit. But that's still identifying that you're a smoker, because somebody who doesn't smoke wouldn't say they're trying to quit. They just say, I've quit smoking, or I don't smoke. It sounds a little too simple, but with our psychology, often the way that we talk about ourselves reinforces the internal message that we believe about ourselves. If you have an inner critic in your head that says, this won't work, you can't do it, it's not going to happen, think about how much stronger that critic will be when you're saying it yourself to somebody else. When you use words to reaffirm an old habit or an old version of you, instead of using words that affirm this new version of you, the version that you want to become and stay as, or improve upon. Now, I speak a little more about this in my video that I did earlier in the year called Limits of Identity, but the premise of this is that if you want to be a different person, you actually have to believe that you are that person, not an old version of you pretending to be a new version. Now, change doesn't happen overnight. It's going to be an incremental process that's going to take days and even months to master. They're going to take patience, dedication, and consistency. Now, here is a superpower for not getting off track, not giving up on those goals, and staying consistent. It's forgiveness. Being able to forgive yourself for making mistakes, messing up on your new goals is just as important as having new goals in the first place. For example, let's say you want to get up earlier. You usually get up at 9 a.m. and you want to push that back to 7 a.m. That's on paper, pretty easy thing to do. However, if your circadian rhythm is set for 9 a.m., it's going to be really hard for your body to then learn this new rhythm of waking up in the morning. So, forgiving yourself for when you get up at 8 instead of 7 is going to be far better than castigating yourself because you got up an hour later than you expected to. And instead to forgive yourself and say, well, at least I got up an hour earlier than I usually do. This is progress in the right direction. And the point is you keep knocking that back, even if it's 5 minutes every night, trying to get earlier and earlier to that new goal, then you'll actually be able to stay consistent and not just give up at the slightest sight of failure. So don't take yourself too seriously. Forgive yourself when you make mistakes and move on. Ultimately, you'll have another day to keep working on that same thing. You can be grateful for the fact that you've got the initiative to keep working on it, and you can forgive yourself when you mess up. You just keep going, keep being consistent, and eventually you actually get there, and you learn way more in that process than trying to be perfect from day one. When it comes to change, we need something to run from and something to run to. So a good way to conceptualize this is imagine where your life would go if you kept following old habits and old ways of living that you don't want in your life anymore. So imagine that, let's use the example of smoking. You want to quit smoking and you think about where is your life going to go if you continue smoking? How much more likely are you to get cancer, early death? Are you not going to be around for your kids, or are you going to be less healthy and not be able to have as much fun with your kids when they're around, not be able to run after them because your lungs are unhealthy? Now, this is just one example. It could be anything. It could be spending habits. It could be making money. Think about, do you want to be poor when you're older, or do you want to be able to make more money so that you have that financial security? Now, playing it a few steps down the line to imagine what your life would look like if you didn't fix or change a negative thing in your life is a really good narrative to run away from. But now you need something to run to. Imagine what your life would look like if you were able to make these changes and go to something more positive. Think about what your life would look like in the future. In 5 years, how much better would it be? In 10 years, how much better would it be? If you got fit and healthy over the next few years, and then you did have kids and you had that family, you'd be able to run around with your kids in the garden and with the family dog and not worry that your knee is bad not worry that you're too weak or that you're too out of breath to have fun with your kids. But let's use the smoking example. Maybe you just want to be able to sit when you're 50 years old and breathe normally and not have loads of lung issues and be coughing all the time. Or maybe you want to be wealthier, you want to make more money. Imagine what your life would look like if you were able to put the hard work in now to make that money, to have a more successful future, so that in the future you aren't regretting what you did now. You've got that narrative to run away from, it might be being unhealthy, being poor, and then you have something to run to, making money, having financial security, having a future to go towards that you like. Now, to bring this all together, you have to track your progress. Tracking your progress gives you a sense that you're going in the right direction, and it actually tells you if you're making progress towards that direction. For example, if you go to the gym because you want to get stronger, you should definitely track your weights, because that will reliably tell you over time if you're getting stronger. The same if you want to lose weight and you need to track your weight on the scale, you're going to know if you're actually losing the weight or not. Or if you check your body composition, check your body fat percentage, you're going to know. But if you just turn up every day, you don't really know what you're doing, you're not tracking it, you're going to have no idea if you're making progress. And actually knowing that you're making progress in the thing that you care about, that you want to change, is a huge factor for motivation, huge. And it will help you stay consistent on your path. Knowing you're making that progress, knowing you're going in the right direction, and being able to share that with the people around you. Now, my final point is changing environment and people. This is 2 in 1, but they're very similar. The people in your life will massively dictate how you live that life, if they support you or if they try to tear you down. And the environment in which you're surrounded by also affects this. If you're somewhere that depresses you, makes you feel crappy, you don't enjoy being with, then you need to change that environment in any way that you can, even if it's the environment that you study in, work in, spend time in, even if it's your bedroom and you just need to make it a little nicer. These factors are much stronger than we expect. For example, if you want to write a book, but most of your friends tell you it's a bad idea, that you shouldn't do it, and they make fun of you for it, those are not supportive friends. Okay? They are not the people who are going to help you achieve your new goals or change for the new year, or even contribute to your long-term success. Or even if we use a smaller example, let's say that all of your friends smoke and you want to give up smoking. Spending time around these people is only going to tempt that thing to come back, to tempt the negative behavior to repeat itself. So, spending time with people who are healthier for you and are more in line with your goals and how you want to change are going to massively increase your chances of keeping your New Year's resolutions or keeping these changes that you want to make. And the same goes for environment. If you're in an environment that isn't conducive towards your goals, towards positive change, towards being a better person, you need to find a way to change it. Because if you stay in that for the rest of your life, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle with the brakes on.